Hey guys! So today I have some really exciting news. We are actually starting our house hunt, and this is episode 1 of our house hunting series. Like, we both thought it would be really fun to share with you guys our experience of what it's like buying a house in Toronto, Canada. If you guys are from Toronto or are just familiar with like the real estate market in Canada in general, you know it's not an easy place to buy. So we thought it'd be really fun to share with you guys our experience as first-time home buyers. So I guess we'll just go down to the basics. We have been living together in a rental for about a year and a half. We have always known we wanted to purchase a home. We just didn't know when we were going to do it. Like, we're just trying to find something that's going to work for us, and we have a whole entire list of things that we would like in a home, as well as some things that are absolute non-negotiables. If you have any more questions as to, like, I guess the context of this, like why are we buying a house and all that stuff, it just made the most sense to be honest.
Also, we're like outgrowing this place too. This place is only a 1-bedroom plus like a living room.
Anyone who's coming new to this video, we are college sweethearts. We work full-time at home, even like pre-COVID. This is my full-time job, like just creating content here on the internet, and yeah, we both work at home, so it's really important for us to have a space that makes sense for us and somewhere that we really love. And also, yeah, honestly, we're just really outgrowing our space and we're ready to move on to the next chapter. Okay, so let's talk about what we actually want in a home. I guess we can have a list of everything that we want here in case we do miss anything, but the main thing was to be in the city, to stay within our budget, which I'm not going to talk about the budget, but to stay within our budget. What else?
Close to family.
Close to family. And oh, good lighting.
Yeah, lighting is key, especially for like filming and everything.
Because what will our plants do?
For filming, we're at home, like we work from home, so like it's important to have sunlight.
It also, like, it's something that, like, example, if we're not crazy about a kitchen, like, you can always replace that, but something like good light, natural light, is just something that, like, you can't really do much about. So it was important to find somewhere that already kind of had those kind of bones. Nice things to have: a garage, right?
A garage, a nice backyard.
A finished basement for possible, like, rental income. Like, we're not totally set on it, but we would love to have that option.
Part of the needs, though, it was a detached house. We really want a detached house because there's a lot of townhouses in Toronto, and we're not really about the condo life either, so a detached home is something that we...
So we're looking for a house that has all 4 sides, basically, and you would think, like, if you're not used to, like, city living, you would think that'd be kind of easy to come by at the price points that a lot of you guys are used to, but it's actually really difficult in Toronto to find that. However, I'm not opposed to something that isn't completely detached if it's in like a completely phenomenal area that we wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. And then also, yeah, like having a backyard like would be nice. Like, we're not really like asking for much. We just like you really can't ask for much in like this city if you want to stay in the city. So
exactly, we basically just want a place that like Toledo can run around without us worrying too much about him. And part of the wants was that garage. Just we have a lot of arts and crafts, and we thought a garage would be a nice place to have that and or park a car.
We're looking for something that will be a nice little investment property maybe in the future if we do decide to keep it and rent it out, or we decide to sell it, like depending on where our life plan goes. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. This is like the starter home. This is level 1. In terms of pricing and everything in Toronto, I'm going to leave the average price of a home in Toronto right here. And this includes condos, houses, like every single type of like home, townhomes and everything. And I believe that is around $800,000 Canadian, but that includes also like condos, like these little 500 square foot apartments, like apartments that are like half the size of ours. So just keep that in mind when we're like telling you guys about like the market and things like that we've learned along the way. We'll keep this very, very like surface level and not get too like fancy with like the money and stuff like that. But we know that Toronto is a really competitive market, and it's something that you kind of just have to be patient with if you're able to. So with that being said, let's just get into the houses. Let's start with house number 1. We're about to go in to see our first house. We're so
cute.
We're so in love with this street and everything. Oh, he's here. Okay, we're going to go. This is the folklore home. Taylor Swift's album just came out around the time we saw this home, so everything about this house was just like something I wanted so badly. It was stuck in the 80s. It was in a beautiful neighborhood. It was really big. It was Tudor style, just like so beautiful.
The thing that caught us the most was just the neighborhood that it was in. If you walk down the street, it's beautiful because the trees are like huge and they're just draping over the road, and it just looks really pretty. The outside of the house was gorgeous.
Beautifully landscaped. The natural light was insane. It had a 2-car garage, which was something unexpected. And it was priced at the top of our budget. But it's like such a beautiful house. Even though I've been talking about having like a starter home, this was the kind of house that we would be in for a really long time. So perfect. Like it was really, really beautiful. And I guess you guys can tell from the footage how much we liked it. So we ended up deciding to pass on this house. Unfortunately, even though it really did check off a lot of boxes, the main reason was it would just be really way too expensive because the amount of work we'd have to put into it.
Yeah, because that house was literally stuck in the 80s. Like the fridge, the stove, the entire kitchen essentially was stuck in the 80s, so we'd have to gut that and renovate it.
Yeah.
The layout of the house is what got us. It was beautiful.
They had rooms going off of each side. It wasn't open concept at all, which is something like when a house is that big, like I don't really care about. And it definitely had amazing bones, super well maintained, but even just the amount of wallpaper we'd have to take off the walls, the popcorn ceilings, the wood panels, just like everything was super outdated. And because like of just everything that we would want this house to be in more, and plus it would be at the top of our budget, it just like literally made no sense. It's something that like we hopefully will get one day, but definitely not the type of fixer-upper that we are experienced enough to do right now. So this house actually sold for way over asking too, so it turned out that even if we did put an offer in at the top of our budget, it 100% like we wouldn't have won. Like we definitely didn't have enough to like even do this house, plus the renovations and everything we wanted. It definitely put a lot of pressure on us. On top of that, the renovation was just such a large, extensive thing that like and we're not experienced in that, so it just didn't make sense. Okay, so house number 2, we like to call this, I think I'm gonna call it the house on the hill, because it was literally on a hill. So the first thing when we got to this house, we realized it was like
a lot farther than we expected it to be.
So much further.
The streets were a lot busier than we expected to be, and it's just everything we did not expect.
Guys, the area was really weird. Like I just not get a good vibe there. Like, and the house like in the photos compared to like what we saw like was a little bit different. It was kind of dark. It was really small. Everything kind of felt like a cheap job. Like I hate saying that, but like it just it didn't feel like sound, if that makes sense. And on top of that, it was literally on a hill, so I just didn't love that either. And then the other thing I didn't like about it was that the area seemed very transient. Like there were so many for sale signs or for rent signs in this neighborhood, and like we really would love that community feel, or just like at least knowing who your neighbors are, and I just didn't think we were going to get that because this is like a more up and coming neighborhood.
Yeah, most definitely. Like the second we pulled up to the street, I think we saw about 2 or 3 houses that were under construction. The one right beside it was under construction, and that wasn't something that we were super interested in.
Yeah, like for sure. It just yeah, we just like didn't get a good vibe with this one. We didn't love the neighborhood. It was way further than we thought it was going to be. We just learned that maps are so not to scale. It was also priced at the top of our budget and compared to like the first house that we saw. So we decided to pass on this house. And here's what happened. The
house that we were looking at, we decided to pass on it, and it actually got taken off the market, and they relisted it at an even higher price.
Yes. So yeah, it was relisted at a higher price, and they pretty much got around that price within like more or less $50,000, I remember. So it was, at the end of the day, it was so out of our price range. I personally think it was kind of overpriced, but that's like kind of that's the world we're living in. I mean, that's the city we're living in. So but I think one takeaway from it was that we know how far we'll go in the city. Like there are certain areas that I'm just like, it's non-negotiable, I can't live there, and like wherever that was, we didn't like it. Okay, so this one we are calling Highway House, and that's because it was literally 2 streets from the highway. Yeah. So let's say the house was here. There was 1 street here, and then there was 1 street here, and then there was the 401. So for you guys who are familiar with this, the 401 is like one of our main highways. It is always going. It is loud. Like we're in the middle of a city. It just like doesn't stop. So I didn't realize how close it was to the highway, and we honestly didn't hear the hum of the highway until our realtor was like, "Do you hear that? That's the highway." So we're like, Okay. It wasn't so loud that it would like necessarily bother a lot of people, and honestly I didn't hear it until he pointed it out. But in terms of this area, it's really, really cute. I'm like personally pretty familiar with this area. It's so adorable. It was a bungalow, 4 bedrooms, finished basement. Just like super,
everything
super
was
adorable.
really well. This house, whoever renovated it, it was really well thought out. The rooms were like in like the right spots. The kitchen was really nice. They had heated tiles for pretty much the
Like
bathroom,
everywhere.
the kitchen. They synced. Everything was smart too. Like the thermostat, like whoever did the reno just thought of everything. So we knew that this house was really well thought out. The basement was beautiful. We loved having that basement being completely done.
So we saw house number 3, and I like this one.
I really like this one.
You really like it too?
I really, really like this house.
I don't know why we're trying to play it cool. I always try to play it cool because I'm just like scared that like we're gonna be shot down. But this one was great because it's a bungalow.
Everything has enough size.
The light's really nice. Like it's a really dark day today, and it's really nice. There's a 2-car garage, which is sweet because that's like something that like was like on our wish list, but it's not exactly
need.
It wasn't a need. I guess here's my thing. It's like, how much will renovations and all that time cost us? This one was situated on like a corner unit. I mean, not corner unit. This was situated on a corner lot. So that means that the backyard was like to the side of the house, if that makes sense. And so you're responsible, at least in the city of Toronto, of shoveling all the sidewalk that like your property essentially is wrapped around. Like that's also kind of annoying. And then on top of that, this was also slightly kind of elevated. Like there was like a hill ish area, so like we knew we'd have issues with the fence in the future and that we'd have to replace it, so that was definitely an expense we had to account for. And then just like also just like the highway just like really bothered us. Like I didn't realize how much it would bother me.
Because like at first when we pulled up we didn't even realize there was a highway hum, but it was until we went into the backyard we really heard the highway hum, and it's just a constant humming noise that you can't really ignore.
It didn't really sit with us right. Another thing was we were concerned about resale value in the future. If it was situated this close to the highway, how much would that affect the resale value, because it's already at the top of our budget. And and then the last thing that I concluded was it was a really nice house. Like everything was pretty like relatively new and everything, but it was not my flavor like at all whatsoever. I had to come to terms with the idea that any renovations, cosmetic, that we do really won't add much value to the home because it is already in such amazing shape and it's already kind of new.
Yeah, because everything was already done, so whatever we would be doing would just be cosmetic. And yeah, the value added wasn't much. Another thing that we also were worried about resale value was because it was a corner lot, there was so much lawn care required that it does detract buyers in the future. So
those were the things that we didn't like about it, and we ultimately did decide to pass on this house again. We were very close to making an offer because it really ticked a lot of boxes for us. Honestly, even like just putting money into the house, we didn't mind that so much. Like we would be very conservative with it, but just because we know it'd be an investment into my content and my videos, just even like put money into like making it look like a certain way that we wanted it to. We were actually shocked that when we saw that this house sold for $200,000 over asking, which is like, it really blew my mind because I really did not think it was going to go that much, considering like the hum of the highway, like
the corner lot,
just like everything. It depends on like who you ask, but like I really like this area, but like I don't know if like certain other people would necessarily like this area.
Like we expected to go over, but not that much over.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were like, whoa. Those were the 3 houses. I guess you can tell from this video that we are definitely looking for something that's not completely perfect. We're not super picky in terms of like how much work needs to be done to a house. We just have to really love it. Realistically, we're probably not gonna be able to get everything that we would like in a home for a first home, so we're okay with that. We're pretty like we're pretty flexible. That's the end of our first episode of like house hunting and trying to find a house. We're going to be doing this in definitely different like spurts and like breaking it up for you guys. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer as many in the comment section below. Definitely give each of us a follow if you would like.
Thanks so much for watching.